Hello everyone. So based on the success of the Why I Chose Hinduism video that I did a few months back, and it has reached over 50,000 views and hundreds of comments, thousands of likes, and I really appreciate that from all of you. So I've decided to address some of the questions that I've seen in the comments section that are most prevalent and are most unclear as far as what I discuss in that video. So I am Hindu, and I chose Hinduism through very much study of all the religions, and I found my way home in a way. I found my way to the path that I feel most comfortable with, most loving and most logical with. And these two things, loving and logic, are not necessarily opposites. They are synonyms ultimately. So let's talk about a few points. Now, Hinduism and Sanatana Dharma. Hinduism is indeed a term that refers to what Arabic people called Hindus. Basically, the religion beyond the Indus, or those beyond the Indus River. And that's where that term comes from, Hindus. Whereas Hindus themselves never really identified as a particular term, like Christianity or Islam. They never really identified, at least back then, when that name first got plastered on them by people who spoke an Arabic language. They didn't identify as a certain religion. They just identified as kind of those who are below the ultimate, those who are below God and the gods being part of one God. Now, I'd like to clarify this point, so I don't use the term Sanatana Dharma. I use the term Hinduism because most people can recognize Hinduism. Throughout the world, Hinduism is a term far more recognized than Sanatana Dharma. So for the sake of brevity, for the sake of people understanding me, I use the term Hinduism. As Sanatana Dharma means the eternal religion, it means, to me, and to some it means the eternal reality, the eternal code, eternal morality. But to me, it remains the eternal religion. Now, I'd like to say that there are a lot of people who kind of push aside those who call Hinduism, especially if you're in the West. But I'd like to say that I am aware of the term Sanatana Dharma, and that is a term that I actually think is a better name for it. But once again, for the sake of brevity and people understanding me, I use Hinduism. So let's go to my views on the caste system. Now, the caste system, as described by Paramahansa Yogananda, the teacher the master that I follow more closely than any other Hindu guru or master, describes the caste system as originally being do what you're good at. Whatever you find that you're good at, just by nature, whatever you find that you're good at, and whatever you want to do, what you truly want to do that. That was the original state of the caste system, as I understand it, as Paramahansa Yogananda explained it, as far as my interpretation of what he said, which is almost word for word. But there's a lot of ideas about, okay, if you're born with this darker skin or this last name or into this family, there's no changing caste. But that's not true. You come into a caste at birth, but it isn't about last name, skin color, or how much money you have. It's about what you find you're good at and what you want to do. Do that, because the nature of your soul has chosen this body and this psyche, this being, in order to enact a certain function for the universe, as a part of the universe, and as such, you will be good at one thing or another, and honestly, you will want to do that one thing or another. And it's 50-50 on if you want to do something else but you're not good at it, but you're good at this but you don't really want to do it, then it's kind of up for grabs what you want to do. But that was the original intention of the caste system, as understood by Paramahansa Yogananda, in my opinion of what he wrote. Now, not everybody will say that. The vast majority of people who follow the caste system, or especially those who judge the caste system from the outside, understand it as being the corruption that colonialism brought to it. The caste system became people who were lighter skinned and had more money, and the colonial English very much capitalized on the idea of caste, and it was much easier to divide people up, like the French did in North Africa, or the Belgian, I almost said Belgians, the Belgian did in Africa as well. It's easier to divide people based on skin color and nose type so that you can separate them, and you can create conflict between them so that they're not all fighting you. And this is what the British did to the Indians. And it also perpetuated from a dip in consciousness or conscious awareness in society around the world when the caste system started becoming more and more focused on the most basic and guttural ideas of humanity, what humanity is, what human beings are. And that's when the caste system started being enforced more and more in India by other Indians. But the colonial era did not help. The colonial era made it much worse. Now, these are my ideas on the caste system. Let's go to Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, to me, Krishna is an avatar, but I don't think he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, this is a point that many Hindus out there, most Hindus that watch this video will have a problem with, and I'm not going to have a lot of supporters for. But the idea of a Supreme Personality of Godhead is basically placing one avatar over another. One being who has basically come down to help us work our way towards God, towards union with God, putting one of those beings over all the other avatars, which basically are other not other pieces, but other identities that were taken up by God when he came down, or when it came down, more properly described, at different times with different messages to different people, so that as many people as possible could be liberated from this material reality. This material reality requires us to be liberated from it. So I cannot and I do not place one avatar over another. I do not, and my idea of avatars, okay, this is gonna bring forth more conflict, I suspect. I believe that Krishna is an avatar. I believe that Shakyamuni Buddha is an avatar. I believe that, and then Krishna and Shakyamuni Buddha are the two avatars of Vishnu, the preserver. And I believe that Jesus Christ is an avatar of Shiv. And the preserving aspect is Vishnu, the destructive / deconstructive, and really pushing union with God aspect of God coming down, Shiv. Coming down as Jesus Christ. That's who Jesus Christ was, an avatar of Shiv. And I believe that Narayana, going way back thousands and thousands of years before all this, is also an avatar, and I believe that there are many other avatars. But the fact that I believe that Jesus Christ was an avatar, and is an avatar, because that personality is embedded, will raise a lot of conflict, I imagine, with other people that are Hindu. But I believe that regardless of all this, I believe that no avatar should be placed above any other avatar. Now, in the Bhagavad Gita as it is, interpreted, and with the purports and the understanding and the translation, was written by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And the Bhagavad Gita as it is a wondrous book. It's great. It has so many insights, and I highly recommend it for anyone who is interested in Hinduism, but also people who are interested in the nature of reality, the nature of being human, and how to get out of this material existence, and how to accept it while you're here. And it's like the Hindu Bible, or the Gita is. Not necessarily this version of the Gita, but the Bhagavad Gita is the Hindu version of the Bible, it is often called, but it's not exactly translatable, but that's kind of how we think of it as Hindus. But he believes that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna and no other avatar. I tend to disagree. I think that all avatars are the personality of Godhead. And once again, I just want to leave it there, and it's going to raise a lot of conflict with a lot of people who watch my videos, a lot of my subscribers even. And let's move on to, all right, this is a question often people assert towards me. They say, okay, I live in Europe, or I live in Germany, which is in Europe, or how are you a white guy in India, or where do you live? I live in Texas, in the United States of America, and I didn't come to Hinduism through my community, through my family, through my friends. I came to it by trying to find truth, trying to understand what the true nature of reality was. And that led me to Hinduism, and then it stuck, because the nature of reality is very, Hinduism, Sanatana Dharma, is the closest to the nature of reality that I've ever seen. And there is no question that I can ask that there is not some answer in Hinduism. It's wonderful. And, you know, in Hinduism, there's a wide range of things you can believe, a lot of directions you can go if you, you know, if you don't want to believe this or you believe that, or hell, if you don't want to believe in God at all, or if you're open to the idea of God but don't really believe in God. Everybody can be Hindu. It's a culture. And now this is what Hinduism is, and this is honestly what Sanatana Dharma is, I think, as well, because I really do think they're the same, even though the terms are etymological roots are a little bit different. But anyway, I think that Hinduism is more of a culture of sharing and trying to understand each other, understand God, understand the nature of reality and ourselves, and how we can exist here to the greatest advantage to our hearts, to our experience as being human. And we should feel loved. We should love and feel loved. And how do we feel loved and love and understand, to add that on, the nature of reality, being human? So how do we understand and feel these things while living in this body that has limited senses, that has limited capacity for thought, has limited you know, ability to control our emotions when we were born? How do we do this in this platform, in this body? And I think Hinduism, and especially the Bhagavad Gita, not necessarily Bhagavad Gita as it is, but that's a great book, but the Bhagavad Gita has the answers, because those are the answers to these questions is what I have found in Hinduism. And then that's just my preference. And I'm open to all the religions and all their ways of reaching God, as long as the religion itself and the followers of that religion aren't explicitly violent. You know, a lot of people say the Quran is violent. I think that if you understand the Quran in the right way, it doesn't have to be. The same with other religious books where violence occurs and is encouraged by, you know, God in one way or another. But I think that it's about motivation. It's about who you're trying to be through the spiritual path that you found, and then that will lead you further along the path, and it'll lead you towards, you'll get closer and closer to parallels where you see other people on supposedly different paths, but they get closer and closer as we're heading to the bottom of this mountain, I guess you could imagine, all these different paths. And then we will ascend together, of course. And ascending, I mean, you know, you become saints at the bottom of the mountain. A lot of saints have said that, you know, I thought that once I reached sainthood that this would be the end, but it wasn't. It was just the beginning of another journey. So once we reach that bottom of the mountain, we're all ascending side by side, and we're all reaching union with God side by side. So that's my opinion on Hinduism, you know, also known as Sanatana Dharma, and all other religions, and basically how I understand avatars, and how I see the caste system, and I live in the United States of Texas, United States, in the state of Texas, United States of Texas. That sounds pretty good. Anyway, before I continue rambling, let me go ahead and end the video here. I really appreciate you watching. If you have any comments based on what I've said here, which I'm sure there will be some, especially in a month, there's going to be quite a few. But I'm going to try to answer them as much as possible, including with all my other videos, because I really try to get back to y'all. It's just been kind of overwhelming recently with, you know, dozens and dozens of comments a day. But I will try to get back to you if you shoot something down there in the comment section, and feel free to hit that like button down there and that thumbs up. It will really help out the channel, and I would appreciate it. But, you know, all of y'all are wonderful. All of y'all that give me feedback, all of you who watch, and all of you who don't watch. I love all of humanity, and I hope to have more interactions with you. You know, the people who watch my channel and the people who just stumble upon it, doesn't matter. And all of you are special to me in your own way. So I hope y'all have a great day, and look within. What do you believe?